breaking news. The bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was a turning point.
A turning point.
We're at a turning point here.
The beginning of the end for the Trump presidency.
We have another bombshell.
Mike Pence might have to assume the office of the presidency.
Rumblings of the word impeachment.
Breaking news.
Another bombshell out of the White House.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
Trump will resign. Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over and over.
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
The beginning of the end.
Breaking news tonight, new bombshell.
This is the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
The walls closing in.
Breaking overnight bombshell.
This is a very dramatic day, and I think it might be near a tipping point. Do you think this is a tipping point?
December 1st, 2017, you can mark it down. This is the day that everything changed.
The beginning of the end?
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the...
We begin tonight with the bombshell.
Donald Trump is in a lot of trouble.
Trump is in trouble.
The president will resign.
Another hour, another bombshell.
This is a tipping point.
Trump's going down.
This president could be impeached.
Resignation. Resignation. I don't think this president is going to serve out his term. Mr. Trump will not serve out his term. He will not serve out his term. No way. No how.
Breaking news, absolute bombshell.
Donald Trump is not. He's done. And it's over.
It's over.
The walls closing in.
The walls closing in. This is going to be the Achilles heel.
Breaking news tonight. I expect Trump to depart.
This week will be the watershed week. Trump is in big trouble.
Trump's in a lot of trouble.
It's a sign of a terrified old man who feels the
Walls
Closing in.
The walls
are increasingly
Closing in on him.
tonight. The walls
are closing in.
today changed everything. This is the beginning of the end.
Today, the biggest
tipping point for the Trump administration.
What a historic day. The bombshells.
He's underwater. He feels the walls closing in.
turning point.
We may be at a tipping point.
It's the beginning of
The end.
The beginning
of the end.
Another bombshell.
Bombshell. Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
This is a bombshell.
It is.
Yes, we are back. Rev was over there enjoying the montage, the Russiagate montage, but you guys hear that's exactly what the entirety of the mainstream corporate media sounded like for Donald Trump's entire term. The walls were closing in every week. The walls were closing in. Yes, but a new analysis published by the Center for Social Media and Politics at New York University finds no evidence whatsoever that Russia-based Twitter disinformation had any meaningful impact on voter behavior in 2016. They estimate that as many as 32 million U.S. Twitter users may have been exposed to tweets from Russia-aligned accounts over the 8-month period preceding the 2016 election. In numerical terms, that may sound like a lot, but it is not when you factor in the sheer volume of posts and information encountered by social media users on a daily basis. This is from Jacob, and let me say that while on average, respondents were exposed to roughly 4 posts from Russian foreign influence accounts per day in the last month of the election campaign, they were exposed to an average of 106 posts on average per day from the national news media and 35 posts per day from U.S. politicians. So in other words, respondents were exposed to 25 times more posts from the national news media and 9 times as many posts from politicians than those from Russian foreign influence accounts. Not only were Russian Twitter efforts dwarfed by posts from media and politicians, but actually exposure to them was highly concentrated within a subset of partisan conservatives. So results showed that the amount of exposure depends substantially on users' self-identified partisanship. Those who identified as strong Republicans were exposed to roughly 9 times many posts from the Russian foreign influence accounts than those who identify as Democrats or independents. Even then, in fact, it was unlikely to produce changes in attitude or behavior. As the researchers conclude, we did not detect any meaningful relationships between exposure to posts from Russian foreign influence accounts and changes in respondents' attitudes on the issues, political polarization, or voting behavior. Rev, again, I feel like a broken record. I was saying this in 2015 and 2016 when the corporate liberal media was banging this drum, giving Hillary Clinton every excuse in the world. She was just a bad candidate, Rev.
You know, I had a conversation with someone on Facebook today where he said, well, I like Donald Trump. He's the only guy that could beat Hillary.
That's what a lot of people
And I
thought.
said, you know, Bernie Sanders would have beat Hillary if they didn't have the rules stacked in her favor.
Yep.
I could name a host of people who could have beat Hillary. Hillary could have beaten Hillary.
Yeah.
Only because there were very few people that really liked Hillary.
Right.
So all the people that didn't like her and all the people that did, plus her vote, and I would presume, her husband's vote and her daughter's vote, would have been maybe enough to get her the presidency if they were in the right, places. Yeah. But, the notion, first of all, that the election of Hillary Clinton would have meant, bring on Armageddon itself, I found to be foolish and fear-mongering. But you know what? We live in a time where it seems like people either they want to be afraid because they keep encouraging this stuff, or where the people who wish to control the rest of us seem to be wanting to feed us a steady diet of fear.
Yep.
Of fear, of doubt, of impelling disaster, of the sky is falling. It's gotten to the point where I almost find myself pushing back on principle. Mm-hmm. Where I used to have the attitude of, well, let me explore this, let me withhold my opinion about this until I've had a chance to research it. Now I almost find myself being drawn to push back just because I'm being slammed over the head with this. For example, the story about and I'm not saying this to change the subject, but just the recent story about some education bills here in the state. If everything is going to lead to the demise of education in the state of Indiana, then I would be voting. I'd be saying, yeah, give me my grant money now because y'all going to destroy public education anyway. So let me get my money while I can.
Mm-hmm.
But one, I know that every situation in every part of the state is not the same. That people have different priorities depending on where they live, depending on, their family situation. And so there is this whole notion that there's this cabal that's doing all these terrible things. I just wish, even if it were so, if there was a group of people that were like that, like say the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, they were a group of people that was dedicated to, to certain negative things, clearly negative things. Mm-hmm. Well, how successful have they been actually?
Well, we don't know.
are there still Jews in America? Still Roman Catholics in America?
Yeah.
Still black folks in America? They were trying to get rid of all those folks. They're still here.
But their tactics may have become more subversive over time.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. But again, have their goals been accomplished?
If their goals were to get rid of all black people, Jews, and Roman Catholics, then no, that is the goal.
Now, if was their goal just to make black folk, and Jews, and Catholics more scared of guys riding on horses with white sheets? Well, probably that might have been a goal too. They probably were more successful at that. I'll grant if I saw a guy riding down the street on a horse wearing a hood, I'd be a little more nervous than if I saw him wearing a cowboy outfit, because I'd be like, whoa, Klansman, what's he doing here in Gary? Mm-hmm. But only marginally more concerned, because I figure if I saw him riding down the street, I'd give him 5 minutes before, he'll be riding out as fast as he came in. So, but again, the bottom line, the point I'm making is, people, we can't live in fear day in, day out. It's bad for your health.
Yep. Well, that's what our media runs on. Our media runs on making sure that people are constantly afraid of their neighbors.
Yeah.
The guy living next door to you, and not the people sending your jobs overseas, or maintaining the war industrial complex or the prison industrial complex. Your neighbor is the guy you should be afraid of. So, which is definitely unfortunate, and Russiagate definitely helped maintain that, helped perpetuate that, because it really created this polarization that we have.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't necessarily create, but it definitely exacerbated the polarization that we have, and it really, it really set the tone for Trump's big lie in 2020. Because in some ways, I think I truly believe that he did it as revenge for Russiagate. He said the Democrats perpetuated Russiagate against me, so I'm not going to accept their victory because they didn't accept my victory, and so that directly leads to stuff like January 6th. And I was saying this not too long ago. I don't think we're that far away from politicians being assassinated, like we see in other countries. You see in Colombia and Mexico, and you'll see like the mayor, who's like strung up and hung from a bridge or something, or the police chief or something. The atmosphere in this country that things like Russiagate really perpetuated, I think definitely created a situation where we are not that far away from being at that level of political violence. And that's why I think that, once again, people have to be held accountable for this stuff. Like the Russiagate stuff, I think the January 6th stuff, I'm very adamant about this stuff because it is not that far away from turning America into a third world country where politicians and political servants and public servants get murdered regularly. And at that point, you don't have a democracy. You don't have a society, a functioning society. You're the Central African Republic. You're Haiti. Like, that's the type of stuff that happens in Haiti.
Right.
And in places in Mexico.
Right.
Americans are not built. We ain't about that life, okay? Americans are too fat and compliant to live in that type of society. We can't live in third world America without it devolving into something horrific like another civil war or something. So I think everybody, I've said from day one, Hillary Clinton, Adam Schiff, all these people, all the people who went along with it and perpetuated this, all the Rachel Maddows and the Lawrence O'Donnells, and the people who were perpetuating this Trump-Russia nonsense, knowing, again, anybody knowing that it made no sense from day one, considering that the entirety of the corporate media was on Hillary Clinton's side. Even all the living presidents, Republicans and Democrats, were on Hillary Clinton's side. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Like, so you telling me a few Russian Facebook ads, and then again, this is just like in the last segment, people's careers were ruined by Russiagate. People like, Jill Stein, who I voted for in 2016, her career, her career was completely upended because she was considered a Russian stooge and a Russian puppet. And so she hasn't been able to do much of anything since. A lot of people were kicked off of social media. A lot of people need their jobs for social media. A lot of people use social media as a way to interact with the public, or if they are, content creators, they write newspapers, newsletters, whatever. Getting kicked off of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook is devastating to a lot of people in their work lives. And again, we saw that happen. We saw a lot of, again, friendships, families broken in half, communities split in half over Russiagate, people being called. And, again, as somebody on the left, I've always been very sensitive to this because they called Martin Luther King a Russian puppet. They called Rosa Parks a communist. They called, Paul Robeson. There's this great documentary that I've been trying to find for a long time. I can't find it, called Scandalize My Name. I'm going to have to probably go on Amazon or something and buy it. It's called Scandalize My Name, and it's about all the black celebrities, Harry Belafonte, Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis, so many, Rosetta Lenore, so many of these black celebrities from the 40s, 50s, who were considered Russian puppets and communists for talking about civil rights. These people lost careers, they lost jobs, a lot of them lost a lot of money. Paul Robeson died broke, and this is one of the most spectacular men America ever produced because of red baiting. And to see black people going along with it, see black people on this station going along with it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be real with you. People on this station helped perpetuate Russiagate and called people Russian puppets and Russian stooges and all that other stuff because the white liberals on CNN and MSNBC told you to do that. Okay.
Don't worry, we're not gonna make you.
It's true. Like you had black revolutionaries. You had revolutionaries. We just saw it not too long. I think this was right before you came back, Rev. I did a story on. I want to say the African Socialist Party or something. A radical African Socialist Party were raided and was charged with Russian collusion. And these people were just like. They're just your typical sort of black radical tradition types, and they were charged with Russian collusion. Like this whole thing wrapped so many people up, and once again, it was all about making sure that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats would be insulated from any criticism of running a horrible campaign. Hillary Clinton's the worst politician on the planet. How do you be married to Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and work for Barack Obama and learn nothing about running a campaign? Nothing.
And another thing about that, it seems like they tried it there. It apparently succeeded. And so now anytime somebody says anything that goes against their line of thinking, they trot this out again.
Yeah.
The whole Russian bots thing.
Yeah.
I saw a video yesterday. I was looking at Yvette Carnell, and she was talking about how Joy Reid and her group, first thing they slapped on ADOS was, they're Russian bots.
Yep, that's exactly what they said about us.
Russian bots.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I don't know any Russian.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is why it was so frustrating being here at WLTH and hearing black people go along with this nonsense, because black people have a radical tradition, even if whether you agree with it or everything. But from Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, and Malcolm X,
Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, Marcus Garvey. All these people were called red baiting. Red baited. They were all called socialists. They were all called communists. They said, you can see all the pictures on the internet. Race mixing is communism, and civil rights is communism. And it's to see black people go along with this stuff, to red bait other black people who, radical black people who are not like, the African Socialist Party is not, they're not Russian, and this. But again, we stood by and let it happen, and it's just such and unfortunately, just like with the COVID thing, who's going to be held accountable, Ralph? Who's going to be held accountable? Who's going to be held accountable?
Sad. The funny thing about it, I remember during the 60s, in the 50s, the Vietnam War, and its prelude, the Vietnamese-French conflict. Ho Chi Minh initially reached out to the United States in his efforts to free Vietnam from the French. But, we were friends with the French. So even though, we've got that whole Declaration of Independence, that whole liberty, enlightening the world, all that stuff. And even though France had been our ally in getting, loosed from the British Crown, yet when France wanted to hold on to its colonial interests, we sided with them. Maybe that's payback for us not siding with the French revolutionaries. I don't know. But that's what happened. And so, since the Americans wouldn't help him, he turned to the other side,
right,
who said that they would.
Yeah.
The Soviets.
The communists, yeah.
So that's why Vietnam is a socialist state today,
right?
Which is, in terms of market principles, it's moving towards, the free market, because generally speaking, there's never been a state entity that's been good at the market because they're insulated. When you're a government, you can make mistakes and nothing will happen to you. That's the whole point of what you're saying now. How do we hold these people accountable when they hold the levers of power? They hold the levers of information control.
Yep.
What can we do?
Media, corporations.
Yeah.
Government.
They control the message, so who's going to punish them? Who watches the watchers?
Right. Like I said, I think that once they got away with Iraq, once they got away with crashing the economy in 2008, they got away with Libya, they get away with COVID, they get away with all these things. At a certain point, they just say, look, we're going to do what we want, and you people have no choice but to sit here and take it. You people don't have any choice but to sit here and take it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get these callers. Hello, caller. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. Again.
Welcome back.
Who are your sponsors? Who sponsors this program?
Whoever you hear at 20 after and 40 after.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Whoever you hear during the commercials.
I asked you who sponsored your program.
Right. Yeah, the people who you hear during the commercials. Whenever you hear the commercials, that's who our sponsors are.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know who was your source number. Well, anyway, make a long story short, now, you're not legally discharged from arms for 3 years later, then they send you your honorable discharge.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Okay, then, right behind where it said honorable discharge, they had a PIN number, but it was microscopic. You had to put it into a computer to magnify it, to understand what it was saying. But I share with you and whoever listening, they had, on the back tail of that, they said, they received me as being harmful, extremely dangerous, with schizoid tendencies. But then they had that, and I wondered as to why I didn't get a fair shake when I got out the military, as far as jobs was concerned. But they would praise me and digging a hole for me at the same time, because they were through with me as to what they had me over there for. That country had a lot of resources. They don't talk about that. And they had other allies like Turkey, Thailanders, Australia, even South Koreans.
Mm-hmm.
They help fight that war. They don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But they praise you and dig a hole for you at the same time when they through with you.
I heard that. Thank you for your call. We got to go to this next call and go to a break. It's all good. Hello, caller.
Okay, Burns and Noble. Scandalize my name. $28.
Yes.
Burns, Noble, okay?
Yeah.
$28.
Well, thank you for letting me know. But yeah, you're right. I'm gonna have to go and buy that.
Just go Google it. It's right here. Go Google.
Yeah. Oh, I know you love Google. I'm gonna Google. Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Thank you for your call. Yes. All right, folks. We gotta go to a break. When we get back, Happy's.
Yeah, let's lighten the load.
You are listening to Scott and the Rev on WLTH 1370 AM. Give us a call, 219-885-1371.